back in 1861 and won by Kyogle. It's since been won by legends of the turf, including Farlap and Tulloch. The race was moved from the spring to the autumn in 1979. The leading jockey in Derby history is Tom Hales with 6 winners, all of which came over the 1900s. The legendary trainer TJ Smith has trained the most AJC Derby winners. His first came in 1949 with Playboy and his last in 1980, when the mighty Kingston Town provided TJ with his 9th Derby.
The Derby won, running into second place, Mr. Independent. Shogun battling it out with Riverdor for third, but Kingston Town breezes in by 3.5 lengths.
After claiming the 3-year-old feature, Kingston Town would go on to win numerous Group 1s, including 3 Cox Plates, and came agonisingly close to winning a Melbourne Cup. Another Hall of Fame trainer with a great Derby record is Bart Cumming. Master trainer loves winning this 3-year-old feature.
Well, any Group 1 race, any main track in Australia is a great thrill to win. It's nice to win the hometown here in Sydney, and it's usually a pretty strong race. Now they've changed it from the spring to the autumn. The horses now are older and more mature. In the old days, I'd say 30 or 40% of the horses were still 2-year-olds when they run it in the autumn. But this is great now. They're really matured 3-year-olds, and we see the result of that.
Bozam was one of the best 3-year-olds this country has ever seen. In the 1988 AJC Derby, he was sent out a heavy favourite and never looked like letting his supporters down.
Bozam's had a beautiful run. He's tracking those 2 leaders into the straight. On the rails, 4th, it's Candide, and then Brixton Town, Grosvenor Square under heavy pressure. Then Zamakima, followed by Impazira, Mr. Dynamite and Mr. Bunnythorpe as they turn for home. Over the rise, and Hunter on the outside, headed Might. But here comes Bozam. Bozam on the outside has just cruised up to them as they top the rise. He went past them in a single stride, and Bozam left them standing. Look at that acceleration once again as he races 4, 5 in front. Brixton Town wide out is running home hard. He's going to get second, but Bozam wins the Derby with the head on the chest. He won by 6 lengths to Brixton Town. 3rd is Hunter, and then it's...
Well, it's been a great thrill here today. I think my 30-odd years of training, I think this is probably the happiest moment of my life in my career, and I'd like to thank all those who helped me, and particularly like to thank Jack for not buying the other half when I insisted for 3 or 4 months when I first bought the horse.
In 1995, Bart had Ivory's Irish in contention with Kiwi jockey Larry Cassidy in the saddle.
And Ivory's Irish followed by Blevick, who strung up for a moment near the fence. Further back as they come around the turn, Ram Lee followed by Turradoo and River Ruin. Into the straight, Stony Bay allowed to drift out about 4 off the fence as well clear. Now Jackie Chair's not going to bother about the cutaway. He's come to the outside on Dane Win, and look at Blevick getting up inside the pair of them, and Ivory's Irish further out. What a race in the Derby. At the 200 it's Blevick, Dane Win, Ivory's Irish, Stony Bay's gone. Blevick, Dane Win, Ivory's Irish on the outside. Dane Win and Ivory's Irish have come away. They're going to fight it out. Ivory's Irish and Dane Win, they're both pretty tight as they come to the line. Ivory's Irish won the Derby. A terrific...
In 2003, it was an emotional victory for trainer Gerald Ryan, who combined with the jockey of the moment Scott Seamer to claim the Derby with Clangalang, who had been unlucky at his previous 2 starts in the Canterbury and Rosehill Guinea.
He went into that campaign aimed towards it. Derby after his good spring form, but there's always on pedigree in that whether he'd run the journey. His most unlucky start before in the Rosehill Guineas. He ran 4th, and it was after that day that I really start thinking the horse could win the Derby.
Clangalang behind those. 2 lengths further back is making ground Davidoff, Lashed, then Natural Talent to the outside, and they were followed well back in the straight by Lashed. They're at the 350, and Sunrace come to the outside, but he's a mile back. Strasbourg on the outside's moved up for Bart, and he's hit the lead. Clangalang's getting up on the fence from Mummify, still there. Clangalang the inside, Strasbourg and Mummify. Clangalang and Seamer drove him to the front. Clangalang race clear from Strasbourg and Mummify. Clangalang in front, and it's Clangalang's Australian Derby. Clangalang won it by over a length to Strasbourg and Mummify. They were followed by Boy Platinum Scissors, then Martoon, Rouge Hom, Natural Blitz.
We've had a few little ups and downs, but no, things never run smooth. But 5 weeks ago, things start to run all right until we start running our luck in races, and I believe this horse should have won the championship stakes in the spring, and he should have won the Rosehall Guineas, and thoroughly deserved winning today, a race like today.
The 2004 AJC Derby saw one of the closest finishes in the race's history, when Guy Walter produced Braylock, a despised outsider, to run the race of his life, nearly pinching the race from the favourite Starcraft. Starcraft was trained in Queensland by Gary Newham and owned by successful businessman Paul Macon.
Coming up in the centre there is Del Zeo, followed by Starcraft. He's going to ride him for a little bit of luck. He's starting to improve in the centre. Under the bridges going forward. Kingside next on the outside. Nyala's in between horses. He'll experience traffic as they straighten up. Here they are in the straight now in the Derby, and the leader here, it's Braylock, a length in front of Timberina. Special Harmony coming to the outside. Starcraft is starting to wind up. Del Zeo's coming through in the centre. Timberina's after Braylock. Starcraft with the big bounds on the outside is coming after them. Here comes the big boy. Starcraft is going to Braylock. Braylock's kicking on the inside. Starcraft, Braylock. Oh! Photo finish. Oh, this is close between the pair of them. Del Zeo's finished third. Elvstrom has finished fourth.
I'm telling you, he was feeling that last 200 too, this horse. He was really coming to the end of it, but he just showed so much determination to win the race, you know. And I felt bad hitting him because I was trying to get every bit last inch out of him, and he was a spent force at the 100, and he just kept coming and coming. Just great training feat for Gary. I'm really happy for him.
He's definitely a superstar. They all said he couldn't do it. One trainer said that he'd been in longer than Sydney Harbour Bridge. I'd like to tell him he's bigger than the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Starcraft went on to compete at the highest level in Europe and America when transferred to the famed Luca Kamani stables at Newmarket in England. Victorian trainer Lee Friedman has had much success in the Australian Derby, winning the race on 3 occasions with Naturalism, Mahogany and Don Eduardo. The 1992 Derby was the start of a great rivalry between Naturalism and Viandacross. The two would fight out many big race finishes in the years to come, but in the Derby it was Mick Dittman aboard Naturalism, using all of his renowned force to get him home for Friedman.
Star of the Realm is a mile back, and so is Inter Musician as they come to the turn, and they've packed up very tightly where Shane Dye goes to the lead on Cool Affair, to be tackled in turn by Coolong Road and Examination, 3 wide on the outside, straightening up. Further back is Naturalism. Heroicity has now popped the question. Further out, Skylock is starting to run on strongly as they top the hill where Coolong Road got to the lead. Mick Dittman is squeezing through on Naturalism. Examination's there with Heroicity, and here comes Viandacross. Viandacross down the outside is motoring home. Naturalism the leader. Viandacross inch by inches wearing him down. Naturalism still in front. He ran out near the line, but Naturalism wins at a half length of Viandacross.
Viandacross protested against the first place getter Naturalism, which saw high drama after the race. The interference was said to occur right at the finishing post, but was dismissed by stewards shortly after. In 1994, Friedman was in the winner's circle again, this time with Mahogany, owned by high-profile businessman and big punter Lloyd Williams.
Zaremba's got a very big break on the corner. Zaremba led by 3 to Mahogany, who's getting to him rapidly now. Rum Rustic dropping out of it, followed by Fraternity, and then Star of Maple Arborea, Sable Dreamer, and Waikikamu Cow is taken to the extreme outside as they come over the rise. Greg Hall looks extra confident on Mahogany. Zaremba's in front as they top the hill. Mahogany is gobbling him up very quickly with Waikikamu Cow and Arborea down the outside, but Mahogany swept to the lead. 100 out, he's got them struggling. Waikikamu Cow in second place, can't do any better, and then Arborea and Fraternity, but Mahogany flat to the boards is holding Waikikamu Cow, and it's the 2-state Derby double to Mahogany. Waikikamu Cow second, Fraternity third. Arborea ran a big...
Great thrill, obviously, to win the AJC Derby again. We won it 2 years ago. This colt's been such a dominant 3-year-old throughout his career, and he's really put the sealer on it today by winning the Derby.
Enormous pressure comes with training expensive horses, and Lee Friedman had the unenviable task of trying to win a Group 1 race with the high-priced yearling Don Eduardo. The 2002 Derby was billed as a 2-horse race, with Don Eduardo up against the Gay Waterhouse train Carnegie Express.
Carnegie Express has gone up 3 wide. He's gone up very quickly. And in a lightning move, Jimmy's taken him to the front. He's race clear by 2.5 to My Tally. On the fence, Valedict, a length Prince of War. Don Eduardo flat-footed when they took off. Then came Foxborough, followed by Grey Song. Pentastic is going up in front of him. Well back is Houston off under pressure from another Warrior. And last of all, Navy Blue. Carnegie Express is bolting on the corner. 500 metres to go. The Super 3-year-old straightened up by 2.5. My Tally trying hard from Valedict to the outside. Pentastic. Where's Don? He's under a lot of pressure, but he's starting to run on. Down to the 300. Carnegie Express. Jimmy calls for him now. He's 2 in front. The Victorians are giving chase. Pentastic. Here comes Don. Don Eduardo after Carnegie Express. Don Eduardo loomed up. Carnegie Express in front. The Don nabbed him and beat him. Don Eduardo in the last stride, and Oliver loves it. He's just won it from Carnegie Express. What a derby. Pentastic third, then Grey.
I rank this as one of my greatest thrills in racing today, to get a colt of this value and to be able to win the derby here.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful day. Haven't had much luck in this day in the last few years. Last year I had about 3 seconds, I think, and the year before I was suspended, so it's great. I wanted to do well on this day, and today it's paid off.
Damien Oliver and Jimmy Cassidy fought out a tremendous battle down the Randwick Straight, with Don Eduardo gaining the upper hand to win by a head. The horse never won another race, but by winning that elusive Group 1, it enabled him to make a career at stud back in New Zealand. A week of rain saw the 2008 Australian Derby run on a heavy track. That was never going to be a problem though for Kiwi stayer Nom de Jeu. Murray Baker trained gelding relished the conditions, staving off fellow Kiwi Red Ruler.
Prince de Gaulle is buried away on the inside at the moment. Latorio's in the centre. Steel Giant takes off around the outside. Largo Lad tries to latch on as well as they come up towards the home turn. He's back on the inside behind a wall of horses as well as they start to pack up now with the leader as Dealer Principal. Solo Flyer on the inside from Mufasa, Red Ruler. King Dakar's had enough from Steel Giant. Guillotine trying to weave through, and Latorio's trying to get into the clear, and right along the inside is Nom de Jeu. It's Red Ruler going up to Dealer Principal, and Nom de Jeu got right along the fence here. It's the Kiwis fighting it out, but Nom de Jeu has taken the shortcut on the inside from Red Ruler. It's Nom de Jeu and Red Ruler fighting it out. Nom de Jeu's a length in front, and Nom de Jeu's holding Red Ruler. It's a Kiwi Quinella. Latorio got third, and then came Dealer Principal.
The Derby's a big name here. It's one of the big ones and the ones you really want to win, and I can't believe I've won it. You know, you hope for a bit of luck, and I was very confident with the horse when I've been working him the last couple of weeks. I was telling a lot of people this horse is, if he reproduces his work, he can win.
Nom de Jeu's win gave champion South African jockey Jeff Lloyd his first Australian Group 1 success. It also gave trainer Murray Baker great satisfaction, as he had trained the Geldings Dam prized Gem to 2 Group 1 wins, and it was also Baker's first Group 1 success in Sydney. One of racing's great combinations through the 1990s and into the new millennium was the John Hawkes and Darren Beedman team, and they had great success in the Australian Derby. In 2006, they won the race with Headturner, as Beedman produced a gem of a ride to land the prize.
Goldtown flat to the boards at the 500. They're coming after him. La Celebritaire moves up with Testifiable Kincharm, and then came De Beers and Sumac. Primus is now starting to launch his run on the outside as they turn for home in the Derby. Up the rise, and De Beers has gone up to claim the lead. Down the outside, Headturner and Primus are going after De Beers. Down to the 200, and Headturner's putting in the big ones. He goes after De Beers. It's Headturner on the outside. He goes up and hits the lead. He should have won the VRC Derby, and he's going to win the AJC Derby. Headturner racing away for Beedman. Wins it from De Beers, a photo third, possibly Testifiable, just in front of Primus.
It's nice to win for these owners too. They put a lot into racing and had a bit of a tough period the last... I'm as dry as a fireman shovel, mate. But they had a tough time with the family, and hopefully this will be some compensation.
12 months later, the Hawkes Beedman show rolled on, with the famous Might and Power silks of Nick Moratis getting through the mud the quickest, with Fu Machino relishing the conditions to win the Derby.
Machino out wide, followed by Sir James, who got into trouble. Tuesday Joy will have to come very wide, and Ruling Powers dropped out to conspicuous last as they turn in the Derby. And Gorky Park has taken over and kicked away from Red Lord. Reduce Dancer was next, followed by He's No Paida. Phil Machino is now starting to launch his run, and Tuesday Joy. Miss Finland would need to get moving from there. It's Gorky Park, and Ambitious General has come through in the centre for Oliver and taken the lead. Beedman on the outside on Phil Machino. It's Beedman and Oliver in the Derby. Phil Machino has taken the lead, and Phil Machino is surging away. The son of Zabeel is too good, and he wins the Derby. Ambitious General was second. Tuesday Joy has got third, and then He's No Paid, followed by Gorky Park.
John picked this horse out at the yearling sale, and he said right from the time they bought him, this is the Derby horse. Not only the Derby horse, but he showed us what he's done today, that he's a very special horse. This is really his first preparation. To jump from a Kembla Maiden 3 starts ago. He ran third in a Group 1 race his last start, and to win that and win it so well.
Words cannot express how I feel here today, winning this Derby. Exactly 10 years ago in this Derby, my beautiful horse, Might and Power, nearly won this race.
There's little doubt that the most famous Derby of recent times is the 1996 renewal. It was billed as the Derby of the decade, and most left the track that day thinking exactly that.
The AJC Derby, well, I think it's one of the greatest derbies of all time. When Octagonal beat Saintly, Nothing Like a Dane, and Falonte. What 4 great horses. To have them all in the 1 year was head up, head down. The Big O got the prize. Super race. If you didn't enjoy that, you don't enjoy racing.
Past the 800 metres mark, Interval the leader by a half to Nothing Like a Dane. Royson third, hasn't covered 1 inch of extra ground. Falonte is coming into it now, followed by Super Slew and then Saintly. Octagonal about to take off 3 deep, is starting to pick up these leaders as they near the turn, followed by Magic and then Reasons, Peep on the Sly and Skybow tailed off under the whip as they come around the turn, where Nothing Like a Dane takes the lead. Nothing Like a Dane hit the front up the rise. Falonte's the first to go after him. Here comes Saintly with Octagonal down the extreme outside, out after them now. Falonte headed Nothing Like a Dane, further out Saintly, and here comes the Big O. Octagonal with the last run at them. Falonte, Saintly and Octagonal, they've come away from Nothing Like a Dane. Saintly and Octagonal. Beedman throwing everything at Octagonal. He gets there. Yes, Octagonal wins the Derby. Octagonal again by a neck to Saintly. Falonte.
The crowd at Royal Randwick were in raptures when Octagonal returned to the winner's enclosure, with Beedman showing the effects of getting everything out of the Big O. Octagonal's owners, the Ingham brothers, couldn't take the smile off their faces, and it was obvious what this horse meant to them and all racing enthusiasts.
This is something you live for all your life. We've had horses for 40 years and lots of them, but this is the greatest of all. And I just want to say thank you very much to the crowd for the great reception that you've given.
Well, this is just a wonderful feeling. I've always dreamt of winning an AJC Derby. I regard that as one of the most prestigious races in Australian racing, and to win it, it's just an exceptional thrill.
Jim Cassidy and Bart Cummings had not combined for a Group 1 victory since Shaftesbury Avenue won the 1991 Lightning Stakes. Well, that all changed when the dynamic duo teamed up to win the 2009 Derby on 16-to-1 shot Roman Emperor. After a great effort to run 5th in the Rosehill Guineas, Roman Emperor proved that all along he was crying out for the 1.5 miles, and he held off all the challenges to win his generation's classic feature.
There to go. Roman Emperor's gone past him, and here comes Newitt on preeminence. He's starting to surge around the outside, coming into it nicely. Then Harris Tweed and Old Jock as they turn, where preeminence raced up to Roman Emperor. Down the outside, Old Jock's running on. Sousa's into the clear, and Harris Tweed's running on as well. It's Roman Emperor and preeminence fighting it out. Harris Tweed and Sousa are after them, but Roman Emperor's got a kick at the 100. He got away from preeminence and Harris Tweed. Roman Emperor in front. Predatory Price is flying as well, but Roman Emperor wins the Derby. Roman Emperor has won it from Harris Tweed. Maybe Predatory Price a third from Sousa.
All I want to say is ring-a-ding-ding. I'm honoured to win for the King. And clickety-clack, the pumper and bar are back.
It was a masterful ride by Cassidy, who must be regarded as one of the all-time great judges of pace in a race. He allowed Roman Emperor to slide across from his wide barrier and held him up for one final assault at the end. Gold Coast-trained gelding Shootout had always shown staying potential, but after a fading fourth in the Rosehill Guineas, many good judges believe that he may struggle at the mile-and-a-half Derby trip. But class can take you a long way in a Derby, and Shootout had more than his fair share.
Zabrasiv still poised in fifth spot. Then Home and a Wing and Monaco Consul. Some moves coming from the back now. Is Landlock taking off. Suyama's in that group as well. Shootout looking for a run in the centre from Sherpa Tenzing. Keep the peace. And Handsome Lulu is back last of all. Here they come in the Derby around the home turn. And Cedarburg and Rock Classic are headed by Desperado on the outside. Zabrasiv got a bump, but now he's into the clear out after the leader. And then Extra Zero on the outside. Desperado led at the 200. Zabrasiv a neck away coming up at his inside. And Shootout's into the clear. And storming home is Monaco Consul down the outside. Here's a thrilling Derby. Shootout, doesn't he love Randwick? He hit the lead. And Shootout wins the Derby. Beat Desperado, photo third, Monaco Consul.
A dominant victory in the end by Shootout, and a popular win too.
It may not go down as one of the best Australian derbies, but the 2011 version was certainly memorable. Kiwi Jimmy Chu had been a dominant winner of the Rosehill Guineas, and that was enough to install him favourite for the Autumn Classic. Although not everyone was convinced, he could stay a strong 2,400 metres. Melbourne filly Shamrocker, who had stuck on well at Rosehill, had already been a VRC Oaks place getter and had beaten the boys in the Australian Guineas the start before. Big race rider Glenn Boss was locked in and had been confident in the lead-up. So when the gates opened, Bossy put her in exactly the right spot.
Now Shamrock is starting a run. Boss is starting to roll forward on her, followed by King Gladiator, then Doomsky Presido, I think I do Masquerader, and at the head of the others, High Density, but Retrieve took over in the Derby. Straight away, but Boss looks super confident here on Shamrocker. It's coming up on the outside, and then Jimmy Shue, but down towards the 200, Retrieve in front. Shamrocker on the outside. They're about three on Anachiever. Retrieve won't go in without a fight. On the outside, Shamrocker raced up to it. It's Shamrocker putting its head in front of Retrieve. Shamrocker, the first filly in 22 years to win the Derby, strides away, and Shamrocker beat Retrieve. Anachiever got third, and then Presido.
A gem of a ride by Boss saw Shamrocker become the first filly since research in 1989 to win the nation's premier three-year-old race. Trainer Danny O'Brien immediately declared she would be aimed towards the Cups in the spring. And although she would be beaten into second in the Australian Oaks a week later on a heavy track, she looked set to be a big player later in the year. For obvious reasons, not many maidens win the Australian Derby. Firstly, it's the cream of the classic crop competing, and on top of that it's held late in the season, with Derby runners having had plenty of chances to win a race by then. The Pat Carey-trained Ethiopia lined up for the 2012 version, not really fitting the mould of past Derby heroes, but he had displayed enough staying talent with an unlucky last start second in the Alistair Clark Stakes. The big question was, would that talent be enough to compete with the nation's best three-year-olds?
Sangster leads them up as they head for home in the Australian Derby. A length and a half on Satirical Boy. Strike the Stars gets off the fence. And then in behind them next we've got Laser Hawk, who looks to be labouring a little. He's trying to pick up the bit now. It's Sangster in front from Satirical Boy. Now Laser Hawk getting his mind on the job. Strike the Stars coming through in the centre. Ethiopia's right down the outside. Polish Knight got the inside run. Polish Knight took the lead. Ethiopia's challenging out wide. Polish Knight and Ethiopia, they go to the line. Ethiopia won the Derby.
He may not have had the experience of some of his rivals, but Ethiopia proved that he was the most naturally gifted stayer of his generation. Storming home under the guidance of fledgling Melbourne jockey Reece McLeod, a first Group 1 for the one-time Star Apprentice. Carey had developed a reputation for being patient with his stock, and it was clear that he had taken this path with Ethiopia, who was still in his first campaign, only having his first start in a Sale Maiden 9 weeks before. A date with a certain 2-mile race at Flemington later in the year beckoned for the now $1 million plus earner.
AJC Derby, one of the autumn classics in Australian racing.
It's a really contentious issue that has been bubbling along, and we threw it out on social media.
when we saw the scratching of Barracky from the Group 1 Oakley plate.
Oh, hello, Shamble Wind, I think, has gone off in the gates.
Barracky played up as a result as well, and the punters don't get a choice.
You make a choice about a horse that you want to back, and this rule, it takes that choice away. It gives you a horse that you don't want.
Here's a novel thing. Give me my money back.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's my money. I don't want to put it on a hack.
We all know it's an issue, but let's fix the issue. We threw that on social media. We've got so many responses from people who wanted to have their say.
Have your say Thursday night, 7:30 on your home of racing, TVN.
Every day, young lives face destruction from drugs, alcohol and suicide. So who is there to help them? Youth for Christ has an answer with its camping program, turning around the lives of over 70% of participants. You can help today by sponsoring a young person to attend a camp. Youth for Christ is not a church. It operates to help troubled young people to get their lives back on track. Please donate today on 32671657.
An Eskimo Queen wins the Coolmore. Typhoon Tracy comes back. She remains unbeaten.
She's just a great filly to train. God, it makes my job easy.
Alberta takes out the Group 1. What a day for Bossy. Aloha wins it from Jersey Lily.
And what she did to them, she destroyed them in 2 bounds. She went bang.
They hit it. Of course I can. Has just won it from Secret Admirer and King's Rose.
About jockeys, if the horse is good enough, they'll win on them.
Gallant Tess on the outside, tries hard with Eskimo Queen and Deloraine.
And the further race went, the more she travelled up.
Hot Danish tackled by Eskimo Queen.
Last 100, like, she really pinned the ears back.
Eskimo Queen hit the front, and Eskimo Queen wins the Coolmore.
Words can't describe. Best feeling in the world.
Typhoon Tracy, then Chinchilla Road.
Looked in trouble at the furlong, but I knew that was heaps there.
Typhoon Tracy comes back.
Just got down and rode her out hands and heels the last bit, and she got balanced and she was drawn away from them again.
She was headed, she's regained the lead, she remains unbeaten.
If I've ever ridden one, this is Group 1 horse.
But Alberta raced up and hit the lead in the Coolmore.
Travelled well, we had a great run and sort of popped off Tim's back.
Sprinted away from Gullwater, then came Hurdle Myrtle.
Didn't let it go until right up in the straight.
But Alberta takes out the Group 1.
Mate, any winners are special, but these Group 1s are just a massive bonus.
It's raced away from Jersey Lily, and then Melito, followed further back by Montana Flyer.
Very proud of the mare. She dug deep today in these conditions.
But Boss has got Aloha in front with about 100 metres to go.
There's so much grass on it, they actually are getting a bit of grip on it, and she, like, as you see with her acceleration, they are getting a good grip.
What a day for Bossy. Aloha wins it from Jersey Lily.
Jesus, Blake can ride G-Boss. They just run for him.
It's Of Course I Can on the outside. Secret Admirer and King's Rose.
She sprinted up really quickly and said she was going to go right on with it and put it away.
Of Course I Can. She's just in front.
Secret Admirer, we kept fighting on the inside, but I felt my mare always kept dead in front.
Secret Admirer going to it late. They hit it. Of Course I Can. Has just won it from Secret Admirer and King's Rose.
Last 100 metres, she probably had enough, but she was gutsy and she stuck her head out when it counted.
Oh, congratulations. Well done to Ronnie Quinton. He deserves that. And Kathy O'Hara.
I won the first one ever run. I won it on the Drake mare. And, yeah, the trainer winner of it, pretty special.
Come out humming, put him in the place. I'm on the best horse.
Steps in time, still going well at the 300. She's 2 lengths in front.
Had a great run for out. But inside the 300, she just lifted for me.
Appearances running on with Norzita. Steps in time, about to be gobbled up by Red Tracer.
She responded. The more I asked of her, she picked up.
Appearance and Norzita are coming after it.
What a finish. First of all, you think you'd won? Look, I wasn't sure. It was very tight.
They reached the line close. Red Tracer or Appearance who dived on the line.
To win my first Group 1 for Guy Walder. I do the most of his riding, and him and his wife Wendy, they're just great people, and it means so much.